covered in the last tutorial is the inclusion of these two bottom cubes. We're spinning in here. Now, in the first few tutorials, I led up to doing these crossover type movements in the top cubes. We're not going to do that in the bottom ones yet. It's a bit more difficult, and I feel it should honestly come a little later. For now that we're including these bottom cubes, there is a very simple, easy way to drill these entire 4 cubes. You should be familiar with wall plane flowers by the time you're learning this. You should also be familiar with caps, or for that matter, split time butterfly flowers and wall plane. You could be throwing in these up and down stalls. That will give you an advantage here. But pretty much what we're focusing on right now is these up-down caps like this. Without the extension, just the up and down stall on either side. If you haven't done it before, do it in front like this. Do it in your buzzsaw plane. We're just anti-spinning. And you remember that we've covered plane breaking at the bottom and at the top. And your top and bottom points are for the most part, generally speaking, your 2 primary plane breaking points. We're going to do these up and down caps. When you get to your most comfortable stall point or plane breaking point, which could be the up or the top or the bottom, whichever one is more comfortable for you, I want you to plane break and come out like this. Plane break at the top, plane break at the bottom, plane break at the bottom, plane break at the top. Do it with your left hand. Change directions. So get used to that. You are essentially taking a 4-petaled flower, but you're folding it into a 90-degree angle. If you can think of it, I'll try to do it at an angle here and see if it shows up the way I hope it would. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's essentially a 4-petaled flower, just folded at a 90-degree angle. Once you get that good with both hands, the next thing I want you to drill is doing it with 2 hands simultaneously in 2 separate planes. Okay? This is the fun part. This is where 3D spinning really starts to get fun. Because once you can do this, and you already know how to do the horizontal anti-spin stalls like this, this is where you're really going to have a blast. And this is just an exciting tutorial for me. It's an exciting tutorial for you. So the way you start this out is you're going to start with 1 point hanging down and 1 point is going to stall up. Now what you're going to do from here is much like you would do in the wall plane where you stall up and then go to anti-spin like this. Very much like that, but we're throwing in an extra plane here. We're going to go out like that. So drill this for a little bit, stall up, and then do it on this side like this. Okay, so you get comfortable with both of those sides. Now we're going to try plane breaking and switching from these 2 cubes to these 2 cubes and then back to these 2 cubes. So, starting out like we normally would, 1 point down, 1 point up, going to here. Whichever hand you feel most comfortable plane breaking with should be at the top. Personally for me, you can do it the other way around, vice versa. It's whatever's comfortable for you, however you learn, do it like that. I do it with my right hand at the top because that's my most comfortable hand. And I'm going to go like this. Back up a little bit. And get to a point where you don't have to repeat the pattern like this. Get to a point where each time you get to a top-bottom stall, you're changing planes. So drill it until you get to that. and just get comfortable with it, because it's going to be a lot of fun and you're going to use it a whole lot. So practice this, and once you get that, we'll move on. Actually, we're not going to move on just yet. I figured I'll throw the horizontal switch between these two sets of cubes into this tutorial. So from here, when you get comfortable with it, once you get to these out stalls, and by now you should be comfortable with this stall and switch, and you should be comfortable with that, because those were in previous tutorials, and if you're watching this one now, you should be comfortable with the previous tutorials or the previous material that the previous materials covered. So when we get to these out points here, you are going to switch, and you can do it just like this for now, like that, anti-spin up and then come out, or come like this, float up with your left hand instead of coming out. However you're more comfortable doing it. You can anti-spin stall out, or you can float out. But if you're going to do the float out portion, then you need to start with an anti-spin, then float. See that? Just like, don't pay attention to my right hand, pay attention to my left. Float up. You see that? Once you kind of get the gist of it, just really try to get that anti-spin. I know this is a very difficult stall to get down, but just really work at it, really try it. If you don't work on it, then you're not going to get better at it. So we're going to do this, we're going to come across. Just do it a few times until you get used to that initiation of the motion. Do it on the other side. Once you get that and you can initiate that transition between these two sets of cubes, then try to continue it from there. When you do your horizontal part, go back to an up-down stall. Practice that right now. Horizontal transition, go up and down. Make sure you practice with each hand going up or down on each transition. So if my right hand goes down and my left hand goes up, then practice it the opposite way. When you get done with that and you get comfortable with that, really start drilling the entire pattern. Make sure you're including both hands going up and both hands going down on either side when you do that switch, just to get comfortable with all the different ways that you can do it. Okay, that's it for now. I'll see you next time. Later.